Hey, what's up? Samuel Leeds here, and in this video I wanted to explain to you how you can profit from serviced accommodation in property in the UK. So what is serviced accommodation? Serviced accommodation is basically a hotel. It's when you rent out a property or a room and you rent it out just like a hotel. So it will be on booking.com. When people search for hotels in such and such an area, your property will come up as a hotel. How do you get into that business and how do you do that? Well, you can rent out a property as a hotel. You don't need a license. There's no legislations around it. You can literally, your house that you live in, you could put that, list it as a hotel on booking.com and all the different sites, which is kind of incredible. Why is it incredible? It's incredible because your house might rent out for £500 a month, £1,000 a month, £2,000 a month, whatever, that's per month. But as a hotel, your house might rent out £200, £300, £500 per night. So it's almost like HMOs. You can rent out a property as a single let and you can make money and you can be okay, and you have to have quite a lot of houses to make good cash flow. That's option one. Option two is HMOs, where you can buy a house, split it up, rent it out room by room with fixed tenants. But renting it out as a hotel, like, geez, surely that could be very profitable. And the answer is yes, it can. And also, many people are doing this in the UK. So there are, of course, things to consider. I don't want you tonight to put your house, to move out of your house and to put your house on booking.com and rent it out as a hotel, because there are things you need to consider. But when you do the right market research, and I say there's no legislation, there is no legislation in the sense of your house will qualify. Even a HMO has to be certain room sizes, you need to have fire doors, you need to have smoke alarms, you need to have a license. But with a serviced accommodation, i.e. a hotel, you don't need a license. Will that change? Maybe. What's the case right now? You can do it. Of course, there are things you need to look for. I've done a little video, if you just see above, the things that you need to make sure rules-wise in regards to the mortgage and stuff that you need to look for. Now, how does this affect you right now? Well, what it means is, it just means that if you've got limited funds, let's say you've got £50,000 or £20,000, it means that rather than buying a property to put a tenant in, it means that you can buy a property, whether that be an apartment, a house, whatever, you can buy a property with the sole purpose of renting this property out as a hotel, which means that instead of getting a 10 or even a 20% return on investment, you could be making a 50, you could be making 100 or 200% return on investment. So that's the first thing, which is crazy, incredible, ridiculous, great. The second thing is, if you haven't got any money, you can do rent to serviced accommodation. So you can still benefit from this by renting a property off a landlord and then getting his permission to be able to use this as a serviced accommodation property. Now, we've got properties in Birmingham, we've got properties that were renting out for £700 a month, just apartments in Birmingham, and now we're renting them out as a hotel. We're now getting £150 per night. So we've like quadrupled our profit from this property by using serviced accommodation. Now, how on earth do you run it as a hotel? Does that mean you need to employ a hotel manager? You need to have a chef in there? You need to have a restaurant in there? Absolutely not. You may have been on the receiving end, you may have been a customer into one of these properties, and here's what happens. You have no staff, you have just simply a key safe outside the property. So when the guest arrives to check in, they'll let themselves in. This is all done, systemized, automatically, so you get the same kind of money as the hotels, but actually, you're just an investor. And hotels probably hate this. Probably the big boy hotel chains probably hate people doing this because we're messing with their business. But we're getting massive income like hotels are without having to own hotels, without having to employ staff like hotels. This is a strategy for the little guy. You know, we've had people come to our property investors crash course who are refugees, who have no money, who have bad credit, who haven't even got a property portfolio. They're just starting out and they go straight into serviced accommodation and they're killing it. They're killing it. So this strategy is definitely something that can be applied for the little guys as well as the big guys. Thing you need to watch for is, this is a business. So this isn't printing money. This isn't, it's not something like some magic wand and you wave the serviced accommodation wand over it and everything suddenly becomes great and you become wealthy. No, this is a business. So you need to do your market research. You need to make sure that if you're taking on apartments, buying properties, if you're trying to rent your own property out like this, you need to make sure that the market is ripe and ready for this, because it doesn't work everywhere. It just works in certain areas. This can be a strategy that's being used in America. This is being used all over the world, in England, UK, Europe, but you need to do your market research in an area. How do you do that? What I would suggest is find out what the hotels are doing. You wouldn't buy a hotel having done no market research. You check the demand and then you'd buy the hotel. And in the same way, although you're not gonna be losing as much money up front than if you bought a hotel, for the little guy just doing a rent to rent, he's only putting down £3,000 to control a property, but that's still £3,000, that's a lot of money to some people. So do your market research. Make sure that it would work well and you would have guests there. Next, if you're running a property as a serviced accommodation, be a proud property owner or landlord or controller or whatever. Make sure that when your guests come in, it is immaculate, it is mint. Make sure that you have cleaners going in and out. Make sure that your systems work well. So it's very doable, it's very possible, but get the right training, get the right knowledge. So that's a little bit of an overview from me about serviced accommodation. I'm getting a lot of requests to talk about this. I'm reluctant to talk about it because I think that what's happening is people are doing it because I'm talking about it and because they see me doing it, but then they're doing it wrong and then they're giving people like me a bad rep. So just make sure you get the training, just make sure you do it properly. But yes, you can get very, very wealthy and financially free very, very fast by properly getting the right training and applying serviced accommodation to your strategy. Hope that helped. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe, share the video so other people know what's going on, enlighten them as well, and hit the notification bell. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's mentoring on a Monday. Every single week at 7 p.m. on a Monday between 8 p.m. I'm going to be live answering all your comments and questions. Don't forget to subscribe right over here so you'll never miss one of these videos. I'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Also, if you haven't got a copy of my book, you need this in your life. You can get it from Amazon for £10.99 or a gift from me absolutely free down below in the description link. I'll see you next week, Monday at 7 p.m.